Thanks for taking a moment to learn how Fuse Analytics engages your entire organization in diversity and inclusion initiatives. Diversity and inclusion efforts are often a tough uphill battle in many organizations from both a technology and change management perspective. The maturing of HR analytics tools is making this more approachable, but many software packages still limit the bounds of success by ignoring failures of legacy business intelligence software. Specifically, a lot of HR analytics tools are not serving business stakeholders directly. They are engaging only HR analyst or report analyst roles, and in turn, what that does is creates a dependency on adding either headcount in IT and HR or in both to manage tools and reporting. And that inherently limits the success of any HR analytics efforts. Fuse was built from the ground up to quickly and easily engage the whole organization. It's web-based. You see, everything here is interactive. It's no longer necessary to have static reporting for this sort of thing. Anybody can come in here, change the reporting, drill into it to see details, but they cannot drill into personal data. So you've still got the capability to deliver this kind of reporting to anybody outside of HR who doesn't necessarily need access to personal data. So you can keep that secure, but at the same time deploy this sort of reporting out to the organization. It's built with common global standards, and its intuitive reporting structure is aimed at non-HR stakeholders, executives, region managers, business unit managers, and even line managers. So it's not limited only to this HR analyst function like many reporting packages are. It enables you to set an overall strategy and engage everyone in the organization that you provide access to and actionable reporting to really drive delivery top down and bottom up through the organization between strategy and execution. Anybody who has access can securely create, share, and track reports like this in a dashboard format or in the report editor, which I'll show you in just a second. And it can also be shared publicly, privately, over email, exported to external packages like PowerPoint or other reporting authoring packages. It can also be integrated with other portal applications as well. I'll jump now over to a dashboard created specifically to illustrate how inclusion and diversity risk assessment can be made easy through this UI. You can see here I've added a number of metrics by various dimensions such as age, gender, disability flag. One of the challenges with diversity and inclusion issues, they often occur on a microtrend level. And what that means is instances of either intentional or unintentional bias are often limited to specific locations, labor markets, organizational units, job functions, or even a single manager. So being able to drill freely up and down and sideways through the data by these features filters is a critical feature of really digging deep into diversity and inclusion risks. So here you can just see some examples of various dimensions for age groups, gender, and disability status. And so you can see what you typically might see: male, female, pay rate discrepancies. You'll see headcount trends by age brackets, just as a few examples: disability, pay rates, and disabled headcounts by work locations. These are all completely customizable. For now, I want to just draw our attention to one example here that we can really drill into to see how this is made easier. So let's take a look up here at the top right, and you'll see what I've got here is new hires by job function and then split by gender. So if you drill in this and look at the legal job function, you'll see that 2014 I had 14 male new hires, only 5 female new hires. Same thing for 2015, I had 7 male and I had only 3. So about half the male rate, new hire rate in the female group. And then year to date for 2016 is about equal, but it looks like the damage is done here over the past 2 years. So what I've done just to sort of highlight that as well, as I've added head count by job function, and you can see here clearly I've got 75% male in the head count and only 25% female. So simply seeing one metric that seems to be a risk or a problem, in this case new hires, is not necessarily an issue unless I can go now drill into other metrics and prove that for this same grouping I have a similar problem. So I'm going to jump over to the report editor to show how we can drill into this easily, or any user can drill into this and create yet another dashboard highlighting the risks that the legal function seems to have, and also share that for remediation. I'm going to go over to our analysis tool and rebuild new hires by function and gender year over year. So the first thing I'm going to do is you'll see there's actually an option to choose data sets. Typically you'll be working off of the workforce data set in this case, but we also have applicants, so you can view recruiting metrics for diversity and inclusion metrics as well, and I'll show you that at the end. But let's start with the workforce cube. The UI is very easy to use. Here I've got my KPIs bottom left and all my filtering dimensions top left. I've got a timeline, which makes it very easy for users to navigate reports that need to be built over time periods. You can easily say, I want to say, view by year. I can change the time scale to quarter. I can even go down to day, although that's unusual. Typically, especially for diversity and inclusion, we're looking at year, quarter, and maybe month, but more than likely quarter and year. So let's start with year. That's what we were looking at, and I would like to I'd like to view all three of these years. The other thing you're able to do though with this timeline, if you like, is let's say I wanted to see head count by a dimension. I could say, quarter one, compare that, hold down shift, quarter one 2015, quarter one 2016. So I could actually look at head count for individual time period versus time period against each other. Again, back to our example here, what we're interested in is the last or past 2 years plus year to date. So I am going to drag my new hire metric here, and you'll see under job we've got a lot of different options. You've got job titles, which are typically from the transactional system, Bureau of Labor Statistics characteristics, and also again job class from EEO. Job function is more of a general category here, so we'll take job function and then also by gender. The thing you get with some data is you'll notice that things like gender, you're dealing with a lot of data, so you get a lot of unspecified, unknown in some cases, depending on the quality of the data. But what the UI allows users to do very easily is say, all right, well, I really only care about the ones that I can identify here. So I'm going to check those, filter only by those, and I have the option for much longer filters to either like you can in Excel, filter and search by text descriptions or include and exclude those. So let's just start with male, female to recreate the example that I had there. So we know job function, we're also going to filter because we're really only interested in the legal function. So here I can see over the past 3 years in total, I have had 22 male new hires and only 9 female. So clearly a cumulative issue. So one of the things I may also want to do to really get back to that dashboard view that I had is, let's say I actually want to see it by year just to see the trends. So I'll drag the year dimension over, and now I can see 2014, 15, and 16 year to date. Male 14 new hires versus 5 in 2014, 7 in 2015, 3. So clearly, as we saw in the dashboard, a potential discrimination risk. But again, the whole point of this was to come into this editor and actually prove that it's not just a new hire problem, but it actually extends to other metrics as well. Because simply proving that one metric does not, is showing some discriminatory characteristics, that does not necessarily mean that we've got a serious problem here. So we've established the new hires. So let's change up the metrics. So I'm going to remove new hires. And let's say we want to do average hourly rate, which is how we level the base pay for all different types of employees. So in this case, we take even the salary and divide it by a flat number of hours per year to come up with a standard calculation that makes sense across the employee population, regardless of whether they are, salary or hourly or whatever. So I've been able to establish pretty clearly here that average hourly pay rate is consistently higher for males versus females and has been for some time. So the next step is, well, I want to prove this out with a couple of other metrics because one simple metric won't support a true risk discrimination issue that we should try and get remediated through the organization. So in order to add weight to this, what I'm going to do is actually add, let's take a look at also the number of promotions. So promotions are one of the things we knew probably would be an issue because we knew already that the head count was higher for males versus females in the legal function. But what we got to do also is add the head count next to promotions so that we can see what percentage of males versus females are promoted. So out for 2014, you can see basically 40 out of 100 are promoted male, and I've only got 17 out of 35 in 2014. Same thing, you've got promotions and headcounts higher, much higher for male versus female. So now we've established that what is clearly happening is from taking the new hire rate and zero drilling into our hourly pay rate and our promotion rate. In the legal function, we obviously have a discrimination issue. So the next thing would be that we want to save this to our analysis. So legal promote, and actually let's go back and add our promotions in there so we have a metric there. Just to illustrate this, legal promotions by gender, okay? The other thing you can do, of course, is it's got all the typical visualizations you would want that you find in Excel. So anyone who uses Excel can easily build these visualizations. It's very approachable. You can do pie charts, spline, trend lines, and bar charts. And you've got these advanced series settings as well, just like you do in Excel to do things like stacked bar charts. So these are also exportable. So if I've created a metric and a view that I'd like to save or export to PowerPoint or any other external reporting, I can actually say export it and choose PDF, PNG, JPEG, which are all things that are easily inserted into all kinds of Microsoft Word and other applications. So makes it very easy to share outside of the system. And then in addition, I'll show you how you can share this from the analysis screen. It can be integrated into other portal applications as well through manager self-service type of solutions. So there's a lot of flexibility in sharing and following this reporting and pushing it downstream throughout the organization. And that's been a large part of the focus of the UI and the features here with Fuse Analytics. So now that we've been through the process of creating an individual analysis here, I'm going to go back to our overview list of analyses. So from the overview screen, you see the list of all the reports people have created, public and private. Visibility, private, I'm the admin, so I can see everything that I've created, but typically the user will see his or her own private and public reports. And of course, people can only see, or other users can only see public reports or reports made public by a user. So just to show also another way of sharing these, you can basically go back into the report. So let's say I can drill on it here and say legal promotions. I have the option to hit share, and here I'm allowed to give another user a link to this analysis. So here is the place that I can now create dashboards and reports and push them out to, say in this example, the head of the legal function or the organizational line or business unit that would track this discrimination risk with us and help remediate it and watch it over time to make sure that we're tracking towards a corrective trend. So I can create only a private view, which is set by default. I can create a view with link. So if I have a user I just want to show the report to, I can also give them edit capabilities with the link so they can go and change the analysis. And then also I can make it public to all users. So depending on what level of involvement you expect to get, you do the link, you can hit copy, you can email the link, and send it to them to share. So it's very easy to share the reports and dashboards and create an actionable list of analyses for specific parts of the organization. So legal was just the example we used. It could be any department, it could be any location, any org structure, org unit, line of business. There are really almost virtually no limits on how you can distribute and communicate these different metrics to different sectors of the organization and really engage all parts of it in remediation of diversity and inclusion analytics, but even analytics beyond that. So just to go back and show you one other portion of this, we've also got an applicants cube here. So maybe just to remediate one last thing and create a full set of 4 squares in a dashboard we may want to set up. We'll come over to applicants and let's put in our same filters here just to see, give them the benefit of the doubt and say, well, you know what, maybe the number of applicants they've gotten over the past years really have made it impossible for them to hire equitably. So I'll take from my applicant information, assuming that you have this stored here. And set up the same dimensions and filter the same way we did before. Only male, female, and filter only on the legal function. And now let's take a look at 2014, 15, and 16. We've got 19 male applicants and 9 female. So, okay, maybe 2014 is excusable because they really just didn't even have the inbound labor to support the growth of the female applicant pool. But then you can see clearly 2015, they had a lot of opportunity here to remediate, didn't. Same thing year to date, 2016. So the applicants have been trending in the right direction, but we haven't quite kept up in the same way with the hiring trends. So let's go back over to, let's actually save this. We may want to use this as well. Function, gender. So we've saved a couple of reports. Let's go now back to our original dashboard here and say we want to create a brand new dashboard to show the legal group which metrics we need to track against. So here I've started a new dashboard. I'm going to add a gadget to start. So what I'm going to do here is first give me just to get myself sort of an anchor to the total cumulative head count. I want to have something here that will let me see the running head count for the year. So what I want is head count first. And then I want to see my funnel from applicants down to new hires and promotions and pay. So besides just being able to see the running total head count, I'll also add an applicants metric that I created so that I can track my inbound number of candidates. So I can see year over year. If I wanted to, I could actually filter just for 2016, and that would make it simpler to view. Then thirdly, I'm going to create a new hire chart to track my male versus female hiring practices. And lastly, I want to track my promotions, terminations against headcount. And in this case, given I've got a few different metrics, I'm going to choose a table view. And lastly, I'm going to choose the promotions report that I created. So now what I've got is a dashboard that I can share with the group and that we can all review. I can keep going with these metrics. I could go ahead and add things like pay rate. I could add training courses offered, taken, whatever data can be added to the system can also, of course, be added to dashboards and analyses. So you're only limited by the data you can supply from source systems and other external sources. So you can see here I've built this basic dashboard fairly easily and quickly. You can see it's very intuitive. They're interactive reports, and this really engages the user to a much greater degree than most systems out there for HR analytics and even general business intelligence. So that concludes our demo of the Fuse Analytics solution and how it can help with diversity and inclusion analytics throughout your organization. The system is completely cloud-based. Pricing is simple. It does not require moving of personal data if you don't want it to be in the cloud, but we do have encryption in transit and at rest. There's straightforward integration with common packages like SAP R3, PeopleSoft, Workday, SuccessFactors. They're all easy to integrate, and also single or multiple sources locally and globally can be added. So if you have HR systems that are different across different geographies, for example, you could pull 2 or 3 HR systems in under the same reporting lingua franca for the same kind of analysis. We have integration with in-memory tools like Tableau to further serve the HR analytics role with ad hoc reporting, and we can integrate benchmarking data for things like affirmative action plans to track actual results against benchmark targets. You can reach us on the web at fuseanalytics.com. You can find us on LinkedIn and also on Twitter. We look forward to hearing from you.